Kennedy had an incredible season for us last year, says the GM. She's extremely talented and is a player that can impact the game at the highest level in our league. We absolutely appreciate all she did for our team last year. However, we've made changes to our staff and we'll make changes to our roster. Those changes impact Kennedy's fit on the team, so we wanted to give her the best opportunity as a fit.
So, lads, this is not great news, for the Chicago Sky, who are a team that obviously, look, they're rebuilding. This is a team that is 100% rebuilding. The problem is they don't own their pick. So if the Chicago Sky run it back, they're probably not making the playoffs next year. Look, I think there's going to be an improvement from Angel Reese. I think it's going to be an improvement from Cardoso. But that team with no Kennedy Carter, it's going to be real tough.
The WNBA free agency period is officially underway. And while many teams are making big moves to bolster their rosters, the Chicago Sky finds itself in an alarming situation. Despite having young stars like Angel Reese and Camila Cardoso, free agents seem to be completely uninterested in joining the franchise. This has left Reese frustrated, as she expected Chicago to be a more attractive destination. But why is this happening? What's causing free agents to ignore the Sky, despite the talent already on the roster? And more importantly, how does this impact Reese's standing with the team's fan base? Several analysts and insiders have weighed in on this issue, and their statements paint a grim picture. From Chicago being labeled irrelevant to claims that Reese herself is pushing players away, the situation is growing more controversial by the day. Let's break down the key points and explore how this crisis is unfolding. Annie Costabile raised an important point. While the Chicago Sky has young talent in Angel Reese and Camila Cardoso, the reality is that the team is far from being a desirable destination for free agents. The idea of developing young players might be intriguing for some teams, but in Chicago's case, it's more of a necessity than a luxury. The team is not in a position to compete at the highest level, and that makes it tough to attract veteran players who want to win now. The WNBA is a league where experience often triumphs over potential. While Reese and Cardoso have promise, they haven't yet established themselves as game changers at the professional level. Free agents look at Chicago and see a rebuilding team that lacks stability, a strong supporting cast, and a clear path to contention. That's a tough sell for any veteran looking to maximize their career. Reese may have confidence in herself and her team, but the reality is that winning matters in free agency. And right now, the Sky just doesn't offer that.
WNBA free agency is officially underway, Annie. So when you see these names and the options that the Sky have, what do you think that they're cooking up?
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because Angel and Camila are very interesting pieces. And when you're talking about, getting the right players in here, there is intrigue when you have young core pieces like that, because you could be part of developing them and developing towards a title contending season. But the reality is the Sky are still
Despite the challenges, Angel Reese remains optimistic. She believes that in the game of basketball, rejection is temporary. According to her, players will hear more yeses than nos in their careers, and she hopes that the tides will turn for Chicago sooner rather than later. Her confidence is admirable, but is it misplaced? The problem isn't just that Chicago is struggling to attract talent. It's that free agents are actively avoiding the team. This isn't a case of bad luck or timing. It's a situation where players are looking at the Sky and deciding that it's not the right fit for them. Reese's mindset reflects her personal resilience, but free agency isn't about personal battles. It's about team dynamics, winning cultures, and long-term success. If Chicago doesn't address its fundamental issues, no amount of positivity from Reese will change the perception that the Sky is a team to avoid.
You don't get told no. You're going to get the yeses. You're going to get more yeses than nos, and just being able to know that. So I'm excited for that. I know.
Annie Costabile doubled down on the Sky's problems, stating that while Reese and Cardoso have brought some much-needed attention to the team, they are still largely irrelevant in the grand scheme of the WNBA. And that's a major issue. Reese may have built a strong personal brand, and Cardoso may be a promising young player, but individual popularity doesn't always translate to team success. In the eyes of free agents, the Sky isn't a franchise that demands attention or respect. The WNBA is a league where the top teams, like the Las Vegas Aces and New York Liberty, are setting the standard, and Chicago isn't even in the conversation. For Reese, this is frustrating. She sees herself as a future star, but stardom requires the right environment. If Chicago continues to struggle with its image, it won't just hurt their free agency prospects. It could also limit Reese's own potential. A player can only shine so much when their team is stuck in mediocrity.
Like Angel Reese and Camila Cardoso too have brought relevance to this team that they've desperately needed in a time when, again, if not for them, they'd be completely irrelevant because of the product that they're putting on the floor.
And also make Chicago an attractive spot when you have Angel Reese and Camila Cardoso right there, two bigs.
Mick Talks Hoops made it clear that the Chicago Sky's current situation is far from ideal. As a team in the middle of a rebuild, they already face an uphill battle. However, the problem is much worse. Chicago doesn't even own their own draft pick, meaning they can't rely on the draft to bring in fresh talent. This leaves free agency as their only realistic option for improvement. But with top free agents ignoring them, the Sky are stuck in limbo. Even if they bring back the same roster from last season, they are unlikely to be a playoff team. The absence of Kennedy Carter only makes things worse, removing one of their most reliable scoring threats. Without a solid plan, Chicago risks falling further behind the competition, leaving fans frustrated and the franchise without a clear path forward.
So, lads, this is not great news, for the Chicago Sky, who are a team that obviously, look, they're rebuilding. This is a team that is 100% rebuilding. The problem is they don't own their pick. So, if the Chicago Sky run it back, they're probably not making the playoffs next year. Look, I think there's going to be an improvement from Angel Reese. I think it's going to be an improvement from Cardoso. But that team with no Kennedy Carter, it's going to be real tough.
The situation with Angel Reese has now reached a boiling point, as Mick Talks Hoops also revealed that many Chicago Sky fans are calling for her to be fired. This isn't just about on-court performance. It's about her impact on the team's ability to attract talent. Reese is a polarizing figure, and her presence in Chicago seems to be a major reason why free agents are steering clear of the team. The fact that not a single high-profile player has shown interest in joining the Sky speaks volumes. Fans are beginning to see Reese not as a rising star, but as a problem that's preventing their team from improving. If the team's struggles continue, the pressure from the fan base to move on from Reese could grow even louder.
So, not a good day for the Chicago Sky. Not a good day at all, because we have heard news from the journalist who reports on the WNBA, and because she is not a homer like a lot of the other people, like normally journalists are complete homers for one team. One of the actual credible journalists reported on something. Sky fans aren't happy.
Robin Lundberg pointed out that the Chicago Sky's roster decisions are further damaging their reputation. Kennedy Carter was one of the team's brightest spots last season, yet she was allowed to leave in free agency. While the team publicly praised Carter's contributions, their actions told a different story. The loss of Carter only reinforces the idea that Chicago is an unstable franchise that doesn't prioritize retaining its best players. This kind of uncertainty makes it even harder to attract new talent, creating a vicious cycle that could keep the Sky at the bottom of the WNBA standings. The decision to let Carter go is yet another sign that the team is struggling to find direction. And unless something changes soon, things will only get worse.
Kennedy had an incredible season for us last year, says the GM. She's extremely talented and is a player that can impact the game at the highest level in our league. We absolutely appreciate all she did for our team last year. However, we've made changes to our staff and we'll make changes to our roster. Those changes impact Kennedy's fit on the team, so we wanted to give her the best opportunity as a...
The final blow to Chicago's reputation came when the black and white sports host pointed out that Angel Reese has now been connected to both a coach and a key player leaving the team. While Reese is undeniably talented, her involvement in these departures raises serious concerns about her influence on team chemistry. Free agents want to join teams that offer stability and a winning culture, but right now, Chicago offers neither. The perception that Reese has played a role in pushing people out of the organization only adds to the negativity surrounding the team. If this trend continues, the Sky will find themselves in an even deeper hole, struggling to rebuild while being shunned by the league's best talent.
Is Angel Reese, did she just run a coach out of town, and is she running a player out of town? Their best shooter out of town? Because Kennedy Carter looks like she's ready to book it out of...
What do you think is the real issue with the Chicago Sky? Is Angel Reese to blame for free agents ignoring the team, or is the franchise itself in turmoil? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe to NBA Showdown, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update on the latest WNBA news.